Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Now, as I was saying, as I always say, Krishna doesn't want praise, Krishna doesn't want worship. The reason why I sing these songs is because it's relaxing to me, not because I want to praise anybody. Because you know why? Because there's a quote in the Bhagavad Gita that says that in times of unrighteousness, Krishna descends to teach and to defend that which is right and whatever, right? So when Krishna descends on earth, Krishna becomes human being just like all of us. It's the infinite source descending, spirit becoming matter, right? The infinite source descending on earth as a human being. And as human beings, whilst we should respect each other, we should respect one another as human beings, there's no need to praise and to worship each other as human beings. And this is why it's not necessary to worship and to praise any human being in the way like gods and so on, right? Because when we descend as humans, we all flawed, we all have our imperfections and so on. So respect each other for who we are, but it's not necessary to praise and to think. But this music is just relaxing to me, and you know, it soothes my mind and stuff. So I was talking about fake ass Muslims, right? Now, I really didn't want to get into this one world religion kind of thing, right? But when you check it out, everything really come from one. Everything really come from one, right? Now, like I was saying, I have a special connection with Islam because I went to Ashra for 7 years and thing. But that's not why too. Is in Islam, the way that they see God is similar to how I actually how I visualize if it have a God, how the God should be and stuff. Like meaning one God, not this whole pantheon of gods and goddesses and what. But anyhow, everything is one and one is everything, right? So one could become many and many could become one, right? And that's why I like this one world religion thing, you know. When they talk about it, like I used to think that, you know, well, there's some agenda and some shit, but the reality is that everything really, when you sit down and think about it, emanated from one, and there's no separation between us. When you merge into that reality, when you become one with reality, there's nothing that really separates us from each other. When you experience that oneness with reality, there's nothing that separates us from each other. And that's why they're saying is that, you know, when you hurt yourself or you hurt another creature, you're really hurting yourself, because it's true, right? When you hurt yourself, when you hurt another creature, you're also hurting yourself. When you hurt yourself, you're also hurting the world, right? Because of how interconnected we all are, interconnected we all are, right? So like from the insights and stuff that I gathered, right, Krishna is a son who originated from the Middle East, just like Jesus was a son who originated from the Middle East. So it's either they are both the same person. I don't know if they are the same person or if they are brothers or what, right, or siblings or whatever. Is either they are the same person, different aspects of the same person, right? It could be seen as that, or they were actual siblings, because I think I did read something that saying that Jesus had a brother too or some shit like that, right? But anyhow, they originated from the Middle East, which begs the question: were they Islamic terrorists, right? Was Lord Krishna and Jesus Christ Islamic terrorists, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case and they come to flick and blow up everybody, especially the US, for using people as freaking psychological experiments without their consent, right? I would not be surprised if Jesus Christ and Krishna are actually Islamic terrorists, right? Anyhow, people might think I am crazy for saying this, and my earth father and both my spiritual father might be quite disappointed in me too. Just imagine my earthly father is a teacher and a pundit. My spiritual father is the CEO of whatonearthishappening.com, right? Both of them would have had great expectations for me, but I ended up being a YouTube comedian working for no money, right? Must be nice being the family disappointment on both the earth realm and the spiritual realm as well. Must be nice being the black sheep in the earthly realm and the family disappointment in the spiritual realm. But I will not apologize for who I am. I will not apologize for who I am. I was wondering how my spiritual father must be feeling though, that the CEO, which is him, might just be replaced by a joker, right? Anyhow, I will continue to speak the natural law of the universe even in joke, because the natural law of the universe is what is the only thing that really exists in this comedic society we exist in, right? The natural law of the universe is the only thing that exists in this very comedic society that we live in. Now, I was talking about 90% of the Muslims out there being fake ass Muslims. The reason why I say this is because there's a big quote in the Quran. It is not their meat or blood that reaches Allah, it is your piety that reaches them. So why the hell is there massive bloodshed on an annual basis as a animal sacrifice ritual that takes place every year, in dedication to who and dedication to what? Sometimes we need to really sit and evaluate. This is why it pisses me off when other religions call these so-called pagan religions pagan, right? Because you don't know the sacrifices that you're doing. First of all, it is heartless. Secondly, now they might argue that it's not heartless because you're really doing it to distribute it as food and so on. But in a world with so much more alternatives for food, is there not a way to distribute food without that magnitude of bloodshed? Is there not a way to distribute food to the poor and the needy without that level of bloodshed? When there's a quote in your Quran, this is not my scripture, this is the scripture you abide by, right? It is not their meat nor their blood that reaches Allah. It is your piety that reaches Allah. It is your piety that reaches Allah, right? So, given this quote, is there really a need for this massive animal sacrifice? Now, nobody said to cut it out altogether. But is it not logical, given your own scripture, right? Your own belief system? And this is where contradictions come into and weeding out the inconsistencies in your own scripture and amongst other scriptural sources. And that's why it's important to do, if you into theology and so on, and religious study and things, it's important to study things across the board now. Study things across the board to see, hey, is this what another scripture is saying? I'm not big on scriptures. I just use my logic and common sense. And I came across this quote not really by reading the scripture cover to cover. I happen to just come across this quote, right? But it's relevant. And there's a saying that people say that you could take scripture quotes out of context and thing, but this is plain and it's written. Now I'm open to corrections and so on, right? About translations of verses and so on. But so if this reaches anybody and you would like to talk about it, let me know. But it is plain stated here, it is not the meat nor the blood that reaches God, right? So it's just something to consider. This is not any conversion exercise, because frankly it has nothing to convert to except the conversion from bad to good, right? There's no conversion in the world other than the conversion from doing wrong to doing good, right? So really, I know there are a lot of blog posts and stuff about like vegetarian. There's a big vegetarian Islamic community and so on in the world. I've read a lot about it and stuff and so on. So it's really up to you to use your discernment, your logic and reasoning when you perform certain actions, and ask, why is this done? Like, I know that it is hard to come out of practices that you were socialized into, but it is worth questioning these practices. It's worth questioning the practices. Doesn't mean giving it up right away, because you have to know what you're giving it up for. What are you giving it up for, right? In the name of what or whatever. But it is worth simply stepping back and saying, hey, is this reality, or is this what I was simply socialized into, right? So it's just like with me now. Remember, I was saying I was socialized into Hinduism with the pantheon of goddesses and things. I was just using me as an example to represent the average Hindu person, but I wasn't actually socialized into any pantheon of gods and goddesses. But I respect people who do it still, because you're not hurting anybody, you're not hurting any creature. So when these other religions who actually practice paganism, which is the killing of animals unnecessarily, you have for the whole of Easter, you see in the whole of social media plastered with photos of Jesus and so on. Is this also not paganism? It's just a question I am asking. Are these things also not forms of paganism? It's just questions to consider and to juggle your own mind, right? Because I know that we still live in a very deeply religious society with a lot of traditions that are really not necessary, right? So it's just thoughts that I will leave with you. Enjoy it, everybody.